Thank you, respected Chairperson, sir. Good afternoon, people in the audience and esteemed co-panelists. I don't have slides, but I have talking points, and I'll try to make it very, very brief. I've been in the satellite industry for over 2 decades, and I can safely say this is probably the second most exciting time in the satellite industry. The first one when I started my career with Hughes in India, and now I can say huge amount of disruption is coming our way. The global satellite industry is making the efforts for bringing affordable connectivity to the masses, and the innovations are happening at all fronts, on satellite designs, on launch vehicles, and ground systems. First, let's talk about the technology designs. We've heard about from Mr. Yappa and also Sumit in terms of payload flexibility. The digital processing, steerable beams, these have been around for some time, but now fully defined, software-defined platforms are getting prominence, really due to their enhanced flexibility on power assignment, frequency reuse, beamforming, and flexibility in coverage. Ground systems from people like Hughes, Gillard, iDirect, and Comtech, they are innovating as well to handle large amounts of throughputs with powerful chipsets, virtualizations, and really conforming to telco standards for ease of integration. We also see a huge amount of shift of workloads to cloud. So in the future, cloud-driven data will be the growth trend in satellite, and some of the estimates point to 50% CAGR growth year on year on satellite-driven cloud data. The other big thing everybody would agree to me, is we are seeing unprecedented investment in the space sector. Between 2000 to 2005, there was only $1 billion that went into the industry. Today, where we stand in 2016 till now, $26 billion have found to the satellite space industry. And this is both by legacy as well as new operators. This really shows that the investor interest is, of course, increased, but their confidence has also increased, driven by the market potential. What will this do to the capacity? Of course, there's a huge amount of capacity coming our way. This capacity which is about, I would say, 10 terabits now, will explode to 60 terabits in about 5 years' time, and will grow to 100 terabits or more in the future. Yes, it means a lot of capacity. What does it mean in terms of price? That is a question that needs to be answered, and which the users will look for, which will open new business cases for us. I think the satellite systems which are able to really concentrate their coverage and capacity over very focused hotspot regions will succeed and really bring the true benefits. So for example, capacity is not required across pan-India for data application. Yes, for aero mobility, yes, but for data applications, there are hotspot regions like Northeast India and Himalayan regions. We've heard about consolidation. Obviously, big competition is coming, so industry is gearing for it, and there is consolidation happening within the segment as well. So within the industry, the companies are becoming vertically integrated. For example, SES, which was more of a capacity service provider, has moved to becoming a managed service provider in a lot of countries, and in India we see no difference. But we also heard about the multi-orbit strategy, Eutelsat, OneWeb combining. This is really to cater to the various requirements. Obviously there will be competition, but I would say there is coexistence with GEO, MEO, LEO. All three orbit technologies can coexist and not necessarily have to compete. I'll quickly talk about, this is the global, now talked about India. Historical growth drivers have been India, have been driven by regulatory reforms in the early 2000s, and really the VSAT industry has grown in double-digit CAGR from there, really driven by financial inclusion, digital inclusion project, government to citizen projects, and point of sale. But if you notice, these are all narrowband applications. So really high throughput applications haven't found its way in India yet because of, I would say, the availability of capacity and cost and business case as well. The second wave of reforms will hopefully address that. See, India is the largest, second largest market, 300,000 VSATs in operation, just behind US. But look at the growth drivers in India. 1/5 of global population, very, very young demographic, 63% of the population below 30, 17 GB data consumption per user. This is unprecedented, really brought about by Reliance Jio. And the 65% rural population and broadband penetration we heard at about 60%. So obviously, I mean, these are really pointing to really an untapped demand that the satellite industry can contribute and play an important role, but the regulatory reforms have to help. I would say in terms of industry estimates, India is expected to have about 7x growth from roughly about 50 Gbps to 350 Gbps in next, I would say, till 2030. Consumer broadband, enterprise, and mobile backhauling will be the key growth verticals. And South Asia region, majority represented by India, will contribute about 2 billion of revenues just on capacity alone. If you add the equipment and the ground services, this really increases the market estimates and growth. What we are looking forward, obviously the industry is waiting with unbated breath for the Spacecom policy. The draft and the consultations have been very, very positive, but really to point out what the industry is looking for is Ka-band protection for satellite, or really finding a way for viable sharing with 5G. I think BSS spectrum, opening up it for video is also a right step, which will create more FSS spectrum for the data application. I'll just wrap it up by saying that SES is now stepping into a different domain, really becoming a managed service provider. It's well positioned to meet the demands globally, but more importantly in India, with its multi-orbit assets, both in the GEO as well as in the MEO. We have laid the foundation of this by forming a joint venture with the Reliance Jio, and which will lock a large amount of capacity on our GEO HTS and the future MEO satellites called mPOWER. SES is super confident in the growth story in India. We've already committed resources, both in terms of manpower and capital, to be ready in time to join this exciting journey. Thank you very much.